ARTPOP, the fourth album by Lady Gaga, released on November 2013, an era where she had an idea of doing a Volume 2, which became known as ARTPOP Act II, that ended up getting scrapped, an idea that Gaga hinted as a possibility a year before on October 2012 on littlemonsters.com, a social network for fans and a place where she would also communicate with fans. While talking to them a bit about our pop sound, she mentioned still deciding on the track list, saying, "It's a bit more modern, you never know if radio's ready, I can't decide how to tracklist it yet," sort of thinking that Volume 1 should have all the commercial songs and save the experimental material for Volume 2. This hint did leave fans more excited for the upcoming era, especially when Gaga also shared there will be an ab involved. As for the following year, 2013, around the time she was doing promo and more, Gaga spoke again about it, but this time as Act 2. During a Q&A on Twitter on October 13, when a fan asked if she had started working on the next album after ARTPOP, Gaga responded saying yes, lots of songs for Act 2. There was also an interview Gaga did with MSN, released on November 19, where she spoke a bit about Act 2 when discussing being in the process of building the tour and developing its narrative.
I love the album start to finish, but there's always a story component to the live show. So once I start to get the story together, I'll figure out if I'm going to keep it in order or not. And by then as well, I might have Act 2 out from the album, and it might be nice to, play both acts on the tour.
See, I've heard Act 2 is a lot more avant-garde. Is this true? And
No, not necessarily. Because actually in the beginning, I was thinking of sort of splitting the album up into two parts based on, what I thought was more pop and what I thought was more art. But this was during actually the inception of the record, and I wasn't even quite sure what art pop meant yet.
And that same day, while in Canada for promo, Gaga spoke with Kiss 92.5, where she was asked how many songs didn't make it on the album, revealing that she had written 90 more songs, and when asked if any of them would ever be released, she responded saying, "Yes, I can't wait." Further sharing details about some of the unreleased songs, such as Onion Girl, a collaboration she did with Zedd that she really liked, Tinnitus, a song she worked on with Maddie on, and lastly, In Like With You, a song that she says she made with Paul, who is DJ White Shadow, who worked with her on other songs on ARTPOP. As for the remainder of 2013, after ARTPOP's release, we didn't really hear much about Act 2 until the next year on March 2014, when Gaga spoke with Kino at SXSW, where she revealed there was many volumes of work over a long period of time that she had chosen not to put into the system or release because to her it just felt fun to have songs that she and her friends loved without caring what anybody else thought. However, she did say that she might release them one day, while also confirming that Act 2 was done.
And yeah, I have a whole second active ARTPOP, I do, and I love it.
The following month, while promoting her latest single, GUY, Girl Under You, an upcoming art rave tour starting in 1 month, on April 5th, Lady Gaga guest hosted on America's Top 40 for Ryan Seacrest, and during her time there, a fan asked about Act 2 and if she had already had it ready for release.
Well, I wrote a lot of songs when I was creating ARTPOP. When I was done working on them, I had a very specific idea of the concept for the first release of ARTPOP, but I do have a lot more records. So there is a strong possibility I will release another volume of ARTPOP, and I'm really hoping that it's soon.
Unfortunately, the potential release of ARTPOP Act 2 never happened, and Gaga did not acknowledge Act 2 after that, which most likely was due to the challenges Gaga faced during the ARTPOP era, both personally and professionally, such as being betrayed by people around her, being mismanaged over ARTPOP, health, and more, which Gaga explained to fans on littlemonsters.com in the beginning of the new year on January 6, 2014, ending the message with, "The next few months of ARTPOP will truly be its beginning, because those who did not care about ARTPOP's success are now gone. I never thought after all the years of hard work that those I called friends and partners would ever care so little at a time I needed them the most." Although ARTPOP came to an end, which had a mixed reaction to even being considered a flop, despite it debuting at number 1 on the US Billboard 200 charts, as well as reaching top 5 in over 20 countries, fans who love ARTPOP continue to show their support for the album, hoping that maybe someday Gaga would release Act 2. Over time, Some of the songs that were meant for Act 2, or at least meant for ARTPOP that didn't make the final cut, did eventually leak, and though the album did have a mixed reaction when first released, as more listeners discovered the album for the first time or revisit it with a fresh perspective, more appreciation towards the album grew. However, even with the support and love ARTPOP was getting, Gaga just wouldn't really acknowledge it, or at least acknowledge ARTPOP Act II. Another thing to know is that while DJ White Shadow opened for some selected shows of Gaga's Joanne World Tour in 2017, he did play a little of T, an unreleased ARTPOP song. And towards the end of 2017, in November, DJ White Shadow, who was back in the studio with Gaga, he went on Instagram reflecting on ARTPOP's 4th birthday, along with ending the message teasing that LG6 would be ARTPOP's little sister, which later he went on Twitter to clarify to fans it was only a joke and that LG6 would be its own new era, further tweeting, "And to add to that, we are just all friends, having some fun. I know it's hard, but be patient. Every time I say something, you can't freak." 2 years later, while still not saying much about ARTPOP or addressing fans who were asking for Act 2, on November 11, 2019, Gaga finally addressed ARTPOP, but this time in a way that nobody was expecting, especially fans, which she said, "I don't remember ARTPOP," leaving fans sad of the unexpected tweet, especially those who love the album very much. However, even though she did post that in 2019, she did discuss ARTPOP in 2 interviews over the last 2 years, in 2020 and 2021. While she didn't say anything negative, she did reflect on the era, such as its sound, and it being one of her most critical acclaimed albums, which fans really appreciated, getting to read her speak about it again even though Act 2 remained unmentioned. And speaking of 2021, something else did happen, which was earlier that year, on April 1st. DJ White Shadow surprised fans with a jokingly post that seemed he was very serious at the time on Instagram about releasing the unreleased song T through an NFT. So after DJ White Shadow made that post, many fans were questioning him about Act 2, which he suggested to fans to make a petition to ask Gaga to release it, which was created on April 3rd that ended up going viral, grabbing the attention of DJ White Shadow, who quickly went on Instagram to share a screenshot, leaving the caption, "Love for you all, edit. I didn't make this, I just signed it, and not just because I was mean on April Fool's Day. You guys want something, you should fight to get it. Too fun." Shortly after, DJ White Shadow told fans if the petition had reached 10,000 signatures, he would personally send it to Lady Gaga, and in just a few hours, the fans got together and made that goal happen, getting the signatures to over 10,000, and once noticed, he reassured to fans that he would send the petition to Gaga himself, while also encouraging them to aim for 100,000 signatures to get Interscope's attention. Then on April 4th, DJ White Shadow went on Instagram, giving fans an update with a message where he apologized for his April 1st post joke about releasing T, expressing his gratitude to fans who supported the music, as well as opening up about the challenges he faced during the creation of ARTPOP, a process that left him feeling broken as well as leaving trauma that he had been trying to undo for years, which now he feels much better and is able to hear the music with a happy heart. While explaining a bit of his story, he also advised fans to be kind to Gaga, as this was also a tough period in her life too. Although nothing was stated about releasing Act 2, he did feel sure that Gaga would be okay with revisiting the music when the time was right. In the meantime, as he continued to push for those songs, he did encourage fans to not give up and keep getting their message across to the people in charge so that maybe one day they will be able to hear the music. Lastly, he ended his message giving thanks to Nick and Dino and Dave Russell, as well as mentioning that he kept his promise to fans and sent a text to Gaga. So at this point, the petition had gained around 40,000 signatures, and while there was no word if Act 2 would get a release, this did inspire fans to launch a new campaign on Twitter with the hashtag #BuyArtPop on iTunes that went viral on Twitter, getting the album to rise on the iTunes charts. And while this was happening, Gaga did tweet twice on April 12th reacting to the support of ARTPOP, which she said, "The petition to #BuyArtPop on iTunes for Volume 2 has inspired such a tremendous warmth in my heart. Making this album was like heart surgery. I was desperate, in pain, and poured my heart into electronic music that slammed harder than any drug I could find." I fell apart after I released this album. Thank you for celebrating something that once felt like a destruction. We always believed it was ahead of its time. Years later, turns out sometimes artists know. And so Little Monsters pulls up. After those tweets were posted, fans were thrilled to see Gaga acknowledge both a petition and Act II, but the excitement didn't end there. Her tweets also caught the attention of Interscope Records, who retweeted them, along with Zedd liking both tweets, further adding the possibility among fans that Act II might actually have a chance at getting released this time. Then late that same day, DJ White Shadow made a new post on Instagram telling fans that he has spoken with Gaga and consider releasing more music from this era, which he said, "You were heard, I talked to LG last night and she shared my incredible joy. We made a plan to get together after Italy and discuss your wishes. No promises were made, but kindness and love are strong as steel. Now is not the time to let up. Go harder. Forget the past. Think about the future. Apply positive pressure to the universe and let's make a diamond. I am so in love with you all." Leaving the caption with, "Let's keep this up for the next 30 days. All positivity, all good vibes, all love, ARTPOP." And at the end of April, DJ White Shadow attended a no-skip ARTPOP party where he told stories about creating the album, as well as share his excitement for a potential follow-up to the album. As discussions around Act II spread among fans and gained attention online, more fans began reaching out to DJ White Shadow, leaving messages and questions concerning Act II, which got him to provide a new update the following month in May, stating that he had yet to speak with Gaga about the possibility of releasing Act II, along with adding, "Hopefully soon, but you know how soon goes." The next month, DJ White Shadow had given an interview with Entertainment Weekly that was published on June 7th, where he discussed ARTPOP, expressing how grateful he was to see the album's impact on people and their continued excitement about it, while also opening up about the loss of a close friend and manager due to the album, the trauma it left him, being the anonymous producer, Detroit City, behind Gaga's song The Cure, and more. And while addressing questions about Act II, DJ White Shadow acknowledged that he had enough material for 2 albums. However, due to his knowledge, there wasn't another record fully prepared for release at the time, and ARTPOP just became one album. So in other words, I guess Act II was never actually planned. Maybe it was just something, because he did talk about this in the interview, that there was maybe discussions that he forgot about it, that maybe they did talk about it, just there was nothing ready to be released as far as he knew. When asked about the rumored collaboration between Rihanna and Azalea Banks on Ratchet, he admitted he wasn't sure if it was real because he didn't have the track, but he did recall hearing that Azalea was involved in it, and she did talk about it in an interview with Capital FM, which you can see right here. He was also asked to share backstories behind songs such as Tea and Onion Girl, but he decided not to because Gaga was not present. However, he did reveal that he had around 40 ARTPOP songs stored on his computer that were done, or at least in the phase of being done, which according to him, they still sound great and hold up. When questioned how soon it was that him and Gaga started to talk about the possibility of releasing Act II when the petition had happened, he said, "It's not that we take major hiatuses from talking to each other, or that we only talk when there's music stuff. She was shooting House of Gucci when this happened. At the beginning, I was like, oh shit, look at this petition. And she was like, oh cool. Neither of us said anything for a couple of weeks. After it took off, she was like, holy fuck, what is this? Then we were both talking for a minute." Now, regarding the process of Act II being released, he did state that no progress was made, at least not yet, as he was focused on another big project. However, he did plan to return to LA in the middle of the month. When asked if there was an actual interest in wanting to release Act II, he responded saying he wasn't sure, but he suspected that they might be interested in revisiting the old material. But overall, when it came to the title of the project and if she actually wanted to do Act II or anything of the sort, it will be entirely up to her. Ending his answer with, "There's nothing more in the world that I like to do than give everybody what they want. And I'm sure she feels the same. If everybody keeps asking for it, maybe it'll happen." As fans eagerly waited for any updates to arise, nothing more was said for the remainder of 2021, other than at the end of October when Gaga acknowledged ARTPOP after a fan shouted the album during her jazz and piano show.
see what this letter says.
And on November, when she signed an ARTPOP vinyl at the House of Gucci premiere red carpet, which fans were very happy seeing, another moment in which Gaga acknowledged ARTPOP. Towards the end of 2022, with no new information to be released for quite some time, on November, DJ White Shadow posted a photo of the blue sphere from ARTPOP on Instagram, teasing the possibility of Act II being released for ARTPOP's 10th anniversary in 2023, which he said, "Thank you all for all your support. You have my promise that I will have something special for you on this day next year. I will honor this record as you have forever. Thank you so much. Positivity only in the comments, please. I will not delete this post till November 11, 2023. And although Gaga hadn't made any statements about ARTPOP's anniversary, she did speak about ARTPOP the next year on March 12, 2023, during an interview with Rolling Stone about her collaboration with Dom for the vintage 2013 champagne. I can't pronounce Dom's last name correctly, so I'll just leave it right here. So during the shoot, there was a particular photo that captured her ARTPOP tattoo very clearly that led to Rolling Stone asking if it was intentional, which she responded saying she didn't know, further saying, "I think sometimes things are not of our own choosing, so whether we put it there in that moment or it was just meant to be, I'll let you answer the question." And while fans were already hoping the upcoming anniversary would bring something, especially with DJ White Shadow who was hinting at it, fans were eagerly waiting for that day to arrive. But unfortunately, on April 2023, DJ White Shadow not only deleted all his posts regarding ARTPOP, but he also posted an Instagram story stating, "No longer talking about ARTPOP. I am officially finished. Don't ask me about it. Don't talk to me about it." Which some fans suspected that Gaga might have said no to making Act II happen, or perhaps fans got to him. Whatever the reason, the reaction among fans was mixed, leaving some disappointed while some accepted that it might be best just to let it go. Yet, hope still remained for some, at least maybe hoping that something would come out for the 10-year anniversary. But as it turns out, nothing was. The only thing that was released was new merchandise of the era, and at this point it did seem maybe it was best just to move on. But even with things playing out the way they did, there were still fans who didn't give up. Which fast forward to 2025, as Gaga was promoting her new album Mayhem during a Spotify press conference at the end of February that got released in March, where fans got to hear the album early and even ask Gaga some questions. Which honestly I actually thought was quite good. I didn't expect to like this so much. There's just something about an event that's just for fans and then the artists. You know, there's Q&As on like Twitter and on TikTok and stuff. But like I feel like this is just a whole different experience. Now something unexpected happened that at least I wasn't expecting it. ARTPOP Act II being brought up. A question that was asked by around 10,000 fans asking if Gaga could speak about it.
Okay. So when I make my records, there is a reason that songs are left off. And it's because some simply are not good enough for you. And I'm not saying that it's a never, but I am saying that I'm not gonna take all my demos that I specifically left off the record and just chuck them on an album and put the number 2 on it. No!
Do it tonight. Stop it right now, Gaga, you're doing it.
No. Okay, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that it's, it's not gonna happen like that. I would just wanna go in and, I feel like it would have to be reactionary too to what so much happened when we dropped that record, as a, community. So I feel like we would have to kind of respond to that with the music, which is maybe some of what's on Mayhem. So that was my EDM opus, that record. So, but I'd have to get back in that headspace and complete it.
And another thing that I found out, even though that DJ White Shadow said not to speak about ARTPOP to him ever again, at least back in 2023, on March 7, 2025, he played the unreleased ARTPOP version of Nothing On But The Radio at the Mayhem Rave event in New York. Maybe this time we will get something, and Gaga did say it was not impossible. Now, how will she do it? I'm not exactly sure. It just, based on her answer, it seemed like she just had to kind of get back in that headspace of being in that EDM world. She may revisit those songs and just rework them maybe on another album, or she may decide to just put all those on an album but not call it ARTPOP Act II. She might call it something else. So those are just like my two guesses on how she would do it. It may not be exactly how we thought it would be, but I'm just excited to hear that there is a possibility that she may release them. As we know, it was a very hard time for her. Even DJ White Shadow talked about his experience and how hard it was for him. I think with all the love it's received, it's also helped them see the music much differently now. So in the meantime, we'll just have to wait and see what Gaga decides to do next. I also wanted to add that one possible reason this hasn't happened yet could be due to legal matters surrounding the music, something I have seen some fans talk about online. And with DJ White Shadow, who did encourage fans to spread their message across to those in charge, I think this could actually be true. Now, as for songs that were possibly gonna be on Act 2, or at least they were for sure gonna be on ARTPOP, but they didn't make the cut. So besides the songs that I mentioned on here earlier, like T, Onion Girl, Tinnitus, and In Like With You, I went ahead and looked up songs that were possibly meant for this album. So there's Princess Die, which she performed on some shows at the Born This Way Ball Tour. Cake Like Gaga, a song that made its debut at the 2012 Mugler's Fashion Show in Paris, which Gaga also performed the song at some shows on the Born This Way Ball, as well as some shows on the Art Rave Tour. Then there's Party Nauseous, a song that did get played at the Art Rave Tour. Ratchet featuring Azalea Banks. This was also another song that at least the instrumental got played a bit on the Art Rave Tour, which DJ White Shadow even released the instrumental of the song on his 2013 EP, The Clock Is Ticking. Then there's Gaze, a song that she mentioned on Twitter on November 18, 2013. Red Flame featuring Azalea Banks. I Wanna Be With You. Brooklyn Nights, a song that she mentioned on Sunday, October 13, 2013. During a Q&A where she revealed that the song would be released as a bonus song on ARTPOP, and I guess later would maybe come on the ARTPOP app sometime during the album cycle. I also found some unused Brooklyn Nights backdrop that was meant to be used in her Art Rave tour. So I guess at some point Brooklyn Nights was supposed to be added to the track list, but since things didn't go as planned, that ended up getting cancelled and unused. She also performed a small part of the song at Melbourne on her Art Rave tour back in 2014. Sire. Then there's Temple, a song it seems was mentioned during a conversation between Lady Gaga and Zedd back in 2012 that is said to be inspired by Taylor Kenny, who was Gaga's boyfriend at the time. And lastly, Nothing On But The Radio, that was originally recorded during the Born This Way sessions that was later reworked for ARTPOP. However, despite it not making the final cut, the song was later pitched to Addison Rae, who officially released it on her 2023 EP AR. Of course, there's many more songs out there. These were just a few that I found, so if you happen to know any more, feel free to share them in the comments down below. I also wanted to give a shout out to Lefter Mihai 9637 for requesting this video. Onion Girl, I'm very curious about that song, especially hearing in that radio interview that she really liked that song. Brooklyn Nights, and then sure, I want to hear Ratchet, T, and In Like With You. Those are probably the ones I'm very curious about and would love to hear a release. Honestly, I wouldn't care which ones get released, but those are like the main ones, especially Onion Girl. So which songs are you hoping that Gaga will release, and how do you think that she will do it? You can share it down below in the comments. If you are interested, I did do a video about radio custom versions of songs that artists have done for radio, which you can watch right here. And I also did a video about why Gaga scrapped the original concept for her Enigma Las Vegas show, which you can watch here as well. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button, I would really appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.